Coming over here to talk to the coaching staff, but I think you ride him right down the field here and keep the ball in his hands. And you got a wet football out there, but let's cash in on this great field position.
Kate, you were with us here, but weren't directly able to be on the broadcast with us at that time. But how about your thoughts on Osiris Lopez? Just how he's matured. I feel like he's matured 10 years in a matter of months. He's hit a growth spurt. He's now way towering over me. He was just towering over me in the fall of his freshman year as Newton gets the carry here for the mid-watch, pounds his way forward, cross the 10, and battles his way to the 6 and then the 5. And it is a first down and goal to go for mid-watch.
Well, when we saw him in the fall when he was an incoming freshman, you always have this thought of what a freshman is going to look like. And when you hear, oh, there's going to be a freshman starting quarterback on varsity, kind of like, well, what is it that I'm about to witness or see as a human being here? And I was wildly impressed just with his physicality and his physique as a freshman in high school. And so no surprise to me, as I'm sure not a surprise to Billy or Todd, that obviously that physical maturation clearly starting to continue, and he doesn't look like a rising sophomore either. But what's most impressive about him is his demeanor, the way that he carries himself.
Welch, the shotgun snap, gets the block, bounces to the outside, and into the end zone for another mid-watch touchdown.
Right, TJ, right in the end zone. But Kate, you finish up that thought there because, we're seeing
like I said, the most
special here
important
develop right in front of our eyes.
And the most impressive aspects of him, number one, coachability. It's clear. He and Coach Canterbury, incredibly close. You can't get that close to your coach if you don't listen to them.
That's correct.
So that's been lovely to see, that ability. And he has a high football IQ. You just talk to him, and you can just tell. That's not what a regular freshman sounds like relative to their football IQ and being able to read defenses.
Well, he witnessed a broken play up here, and Todd says, well, what do you see? Well, he saw the play break down as the quarterback broke containment, the safety came up, and then the read was there for the test. Like, who are we talking to here? You know, not a 15-year-old sophomore, but an on-field coach.
Klein's point after rings the upright, and back up field come the teams. 4:43 to play in this fourth quarter. It's Mid-Watch 23 and Central Mass 10. And to your point, I mean, this is that special type of student athlete, you know, the once in a generation that maybe you see with the opportunity. I mean, if you follow Osiris Lopez on Twitter, and we do here at RFM, and you look at the places where he's having an opportunity to go to camp and get looked at, I mean, he got his first Power 5 offer. Boston College offered him prior to his sophomore year. That tells you the growth they're seeing in camp. He's been to my alma mater, Syracuse University, and other places as well. He's
trip
got
down south?
Yeah, it's a trip to Rutgers and then Vanderbilt to follow. I mean, these are major schools. And Kate, I'll give you a crack at this one.
Good.
How many times do we hear that, you know, if you live in the Northeast, you can't get a major Division I offer, or you're not going to get that Division I opportunity in football or basketball or those things because you just can't compete with a Florida athlete or a Texas athlete or a California athlete? I say phooey, and my Exhibit A is Osiris Lopez.
I think you're right. I think the old adage is if you're good enough, they'll find you. And so we've seen, you know, in various sports, we've seen student athletes. I mean, we have multiple student athletes right now from the football ranks of Central Massachusetts that are in the NFL. You know, so it's not as if this is the black hole of football athletics, and we have other athletes that are playing at incredibly high levels. Are there as many eyes on the student athletes in the Northeast? No, there aren't. But are there eyes up here trying to find people? Absolutely. If you are good enough, they will find you.
In this day, I mean, look at what Belichick did for, you know, hitting gems. But in this day and age of everybody sees everything and everything's documented and on film, you're not going to hide a kid. And if you have talent, you're not going to hide. People are going to find you. And I think we're going to find that this fall. the crowds are going to come out, and more than crowds, there's going to be eyes here that we don't even know about. They're going to be watching him.
And that type of talent-rich area, once you are seen as a fertile ground, the attention increases that much more. Snap difficulties. Lambert kicking the ball all over the field, still loose, going backward across the 20 from left to right, and out of bounds around the 18-yard line, and Central Mass still has the football. Clock stopped with the loose ball out of bounds. 4:29 to play in the fourth. 23-10 is Midwatch's lead, and right now it's time to get going if you are from Central Mass. And I mean, this is, of course, where I get my moment to say it, to Kate's point. If you are good enough, they will find you. It doesn't matter what school you go to. It doesn't matter where you live. There's no special school that gets you more or better off. Are there schools, certainly, that produce, football factory-type schools out there? Of course there are. They exist. If they didn't exist, we wouldn't know about them. But to say that, there have been plenty of opportunities and athletes that have gotten their chance, and Osiris Lopez and others here in Central Mass will get their chance as the sling downfield from Lambert, the full extension, and the catch made by Rafferty Botsopen from St. John's, and it's a huge Central Mass first down to the Midwatch 36-yard line. What a play on the full extension.
Great play, just to go patting down the sideline, hit him in stride, full extension, and that's the way to move the chains when you're in a deep hole.
And that's the type of play that Central Mass All-Stars needed. Lambert with the snap, roll out to his left, and he is being pursued. Two defenders collide. He stays on his feet across the 30 to the 29-yard line, and he got yardage there, and two defenders, Josh Cormier being one, and also slow to get up there. It looked like three. Was that Will Vogel of Groton Dunstable who collided with him there?
Cleaned each other off the tackle.
Yes,
there.
they did.
Yeah, it is Vogel. A little slow to get up, but heading back to the huddle.
1:20 and counting to play here in the fourth quarter, and Central Mass needs a scoring opportunity here.
That's a timeout.
Oh, that's timeout. Sorry, thank you. I appreciate
about
that.
4 minutes left, somewhere about there.
Those clock operators get me every time
Mike
with that
got
timeout
me,
clock.
More than once last year.
You look up, and there's a different time.
Oh, you didn't shut the clock off either.
Oh, the sheer number of times we hear people scream at that.
With the clock operator, Mike Doyle left here.
Tom McCarthy, longtime official here in Central Mass. Now Father Time here at Doyle Field tonight, as the case may be. 23-10. Lead for Midwatch. Great.
3:57.
Thank you. 3:57 left here in the fourth. 23-10. Midwatch's lead. And, of course, this is a moment where if you are a Central Mass All-Star, you need a score on this drive. Lambert back to pass. Scampers to his right. Launches toward the right corner of the end zone. Jump ball. Catch is made, and it is a Central Mass touchdown. A huge catch made, and their bench empties and erupts in celebration down in that far corner. Check your replay to get the number of the guy who made the catch, because he got absolutely swarmed. The important note, 3:48 to play in the fourth quarter. It's 23-16 and counting. What a moment.
Must be right there. Let's see, right there. That play, I think it's two, Todd.
Is it two?
Got a two on one side of it.
Well, good news, there's only three of those.
With two with a white helmet.
Two with a white helmet. All right, well, let's see then. Let's consult the list here. That is either Michael Corentang of South or Marin Brown of North. Uxbridge is wearing a different helmet, so
it is North. And
it is North.
Big N on the helmet.
So
would that be North?
Marin Brown from North with the catch.
I believe that's him.
And he has brought Central back into this one. Hassanieri to attempt the point after. The ball down, the left-footed kicker drives this one through, and back upfield come the teams. 3:48 to play in the fourth quarter. Central Mass handled their business. 23-17 as the comeback begins. They'll need a defensive stop and another offensive possession to get themselves back into this one. And, of course, if you are on the Midwatch side of the ledger, Kate, all of a sudden you've had seemingly, I won't say easy going, but you have felt in command and in control as everything was going your way. Now all of a sudden in the latter stages of this one, things aren't going so well if you're on the Midwatch side.
I mean, anybody who was aware of what was going to be coming in this game before they got here, everybody said this was going to be a good game. And it is a close one. And the nice part is that offense has been able to prevail. It's so difficult. We cannot express to you how difficult it is for an entire offense on a football field to be able to click enough to make plays. So it's been absolutely entertaining with 23-17, and that's a lot of offense for an all-star game.
Indeed it is. Far outscored and outpaced last year's 7th edition of this Central Mass All-Star Classic.
Watch the onside here. Which side's it going to go?
Halsinieri, ball back on the tee, 40-yard line at our right. The onside pop, the leap, the field made by one of the up men, also from Clinton. That's Mark Moran, who jumps to make the catch. Falls back across his 45 to the 44-yard line. Mid-watch football, 3:46 to play here in the fourth, 23-17. And now, of course, if you were mid-watch, you were in a little bit of a protect mode, trying to survive through that weather. Now you're almost having to think about, we got to go on the attack here a little bit. At the very least, we got to start chewing up some clock.
Yeah, and looks like Central has one timeout on the scoreboard, if that's accurate. But we'll have to see how the clock affects the play calling here, and if they can get the ball back with any time left.
TJ Welch in that quarterback spot. 1st and 10, their own 46-yard line going left to right. Welch keeps it himself around left end, breaks to the outside, crossing midfield. He's got the 30, now the 20, 10, 5, one play from scrimmage, and Midwatch increases their lead. It's a TJ Welch untouched run for 6.
So much for controlling the clock with that timeout, and the play calling took care of that and got that 2-score lead back real quick.
TJ Welch is on his way to Springfield College in the fall, and he's got himself an all-star game memory tonight.
I think that's his 2nd touchdown here in the last couple of minutes. He scored off of that onside kick that went awry and gave Midwatch great field position for their last possession.
3:35 to play here in the fourth, 29-17. Klein pending the point after. Josh Cormier of the Lime Cleats getting a lot of time tonight, both at the linebacker and holder spot. Ball down, kick is up and through. Back upfield come the teams. 3:35 to play in the fourth. It's Midwatch All-Stars 30 and Central Mass All-Stars 17. And Kate, this is the type of situation. Obviously, we were joking with obviously Coach Canterbury and Coach Gates up here about just how sort of, we'll say, funny it is that they didn't know that Josh Cormier could hold. It's just one of those unique things like, hey, can anybody hold? And then everyone takes a step back and who's left standing forward, right?
One step forward.
But as it turns out, it's an all-star game. You want to get on the field. You want to have an opportunity to participate. You want to do anything you can, so it's everybody can play every position, more or less. Cormier is a holder.
Apparently a question that did not come up at Leominster Blue Devil practice over the last 4 years.
Castleton has got to be thinking, maybe a Castleton State
Might have missed
holder.
an opportunity.
Let's see here. As maybe he'll get some chances to hold at the next level.
And you know what? If that's the only way Josh Cormier gets on the field, he'd probably step right up and practice it 100 times a day.
Darn right. 3:35 to play here in the fourth. Klein's got the ball on the tee, 40-yard line at our left. On the approach, swing the right leg. Kick is end over end through the middle of the field. It will be returned by Damian Jones from his own 11-yard line. Drops one defender. Now races to the left side. Crossing the 25, 30, 35. Got grabbed up high, crossing the 40. But Jones with a great return from deep in his own end of the field to give Central Mass good field position. 1st and 10 around their own 41-yard line, going right to left and chasing a gap once again at 30-17.
Yeah, time's a factor now, down by 13. Got to make something happen in a hurry.
The great folks at the Joseph R. Mawhinney chapter of the National Football Foundation would like to thank the great folks from Chick-fil-A for their support of this All-Star Classic. The folks from Chick-fil-A Westboro, Marlboro, and Worcester, their great support of this 8th annual Central Massachusetts All-Star Classic. 1st and 10, ball at the 41-yard line, left hash, going right to left. Lambert at the quarterback spot for Central Mass. Snap, the roll out. He will set his feet. Look, streaking up the middle of the field. It's a strike! He finds his target and into the end zone once again. It's Marin Brown. Once again, streaking down the middle of the field. It's the roll-out strike and into the end zone. And here comes Central Mass once again. They're within 7, 3:14 to play in the fourth quarter. It's 30-23.
That certainly didn't take long. Got behind the covers there. Perfectly thrown ball. One play, 6 on the board.
One defender, one play, down one end of the field, one defender, one offensive player, streaks, one play, touchdown, and all of a sudden, you alluded to it earlier, Bill Thomas, a video game has broken out.
I mean, I love the action. Kids haven't given up, especially offensively. Continue to make plays.
And thankfully, dry has ensued here at Doyle Field. Halsinieri sends this one to the bar and splits the uprights. Back upfield come the teams. 3:14 to play in the fourth, and we have a 6-point game. It's Midwatch All-Stars 30, Central Mass All-Stars 24, right here on RFM Audio and in delay on RFM for our complete video and audio broadcast. If you want to tune in, see the complete video and audio broadcast, noontime tomorrow, that's June the 17th, a Saturday. We'll have that action for you streaming on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. These same RFM platforms. RFM's so proud to partner with the Joseph R. Mawhinney chapter of the National Football Foundation to exclusively bring you this audio play-by-play coverage live and the full and complete encore presentation of the broadcast in delay right here on the platforms of RFM. Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins, Patrick Robbins, and we've had a cast of thousands seemingly tonight. You know, that third quarter into the beginning of the fourth had all the feels of the Naked Gun movie there, where there's like 10 announcers going, all in the scene, play-by-play. They got all those legends together with Leslie Nielsen.
Off the field.
Yeah, I mean, it was phenomenal.
It was a great quarter and very interactive. The coaching staff, great insight. Quarterback coach never stops coaching. A lot of coaches speak out of him. But in the Listen Osiris, it's just it's going to be a pleasure watching him develop, and I can't wait for football season to come around in 2 months.
Well, as we move into our 12th season of the Coach's Corner coming up this fall with myself and Leominster head coach Devin Gates, I will tell you a little surprise change to the program. We will start booking guests to join Coach Gates and myself coming up on the 12th season this fall, and I have to imagine quarterback coach Aaron Canterbury will be on the guest list, so to speak.
Good. Nothing like expanding. And, hey, knowledge is good. You get more insight pregame about the opponent, about, whatever transpired the previous game, adjustments, and expecting great things out of Leominster, although they did graduate a lot of seniors. They're pretty stable at that quarterback position. We're going to have to see if Osiris can lead them back to the playoffs again this year.
And it is certainly going to be a challenge. The coaches, they're building up the positivity. But joining Division I, Kate, that's no joke when they're talking about the cream of the crop. But I do agree with Coach Gates' statement. That's where Leominster belongs historically.
Historically speaking, yes. If you talk to people in the community and you hear, Leominster's in Division II, what happened? I mean, traditionally, especially in the 80s, you would hear about Leominster going up against Nashua. You'd hear about them going up against Brockton and Everett. So, I mean, those are the big boys, and those are the places that you want to be if you want to be one of the premier programs. And Leominster has always maintained that they want to continue to be a premier program in Massachusetts, and so Division I.
Bring St. John's back into the fold, I believe, this year.
Opening night. That's a great opening night.
I didn't want to spew it out without
it was a
positive,
phenomenal basketball opening night this past year, and it will be a phenomenal football opening night as well.
Looking forward to the change in schedule.
Second
some
down.
New opponents on the docket.
And 10. From the 36-yard line, a low snap, fielded, and then the handoff made, put into the hands of a new running back out there, Mark Moran. He had the great play as an up man. He had a carry earlier on, but this is a new setup with Welch and Moran in the backfield. Newton is out for the Midwatch All-Stars, so Moran gets his chance from Clinton on that carry as well.
Josh Cormier in the backfield on the prior had a carry of his own, too. I think might have been his first carry offensively tonight.
Moran's going to spend his time. He's going to be a Ram at URI. That's the University of Rhode Island coming this fall. Go Rhodey on that one. 1:59 to play here in the fourth. 30-20 for the lead for the Midwatch All-Stars. And great to have you along with us here. To that point, Leominster High School football, the rivalry, the excitement, the Thanksgiving Day Classic, and a whole bunch more football action across Central Mass. It's going to find its home right here on RFM audio once again this fall. We cannot wait to bring you our live audio broadcasts each and every week, YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. We appreciate your patience tonight working around this storm and some of the technical difficulties that we've worked our way through, water included, but we appreciate the fact that you've hung in there with us, and that's the important part of this. And we will be back coming up this fall. Billy, Kate, and I cannot wait to bring you every Leominster game, home and away. Our partners from Leominster TV will join us once again. We'll have that action for you each and every week. Also, our partners at WLPZ Radio, 95.1 FM, have already confirmed that they will be back for the action as well. And, of course, the Thanksgiving Day Classic crowns the season right here on RFM, and we're looking forward to bringing you that action, the historic battle of Leominster and Fitchburg as well. Mid-watch football out of the timeout, 3rd down and 5 to go. Hard count at the 40. They get the jump as the defense got a little itchy, and that may be enough for a 1st down.
And I think that's probably what was talked about in that timeout. Let's see if we can't get that 1st down right there at the line of scrimmage without running a play, and it worked to perfection.
Indeed it did. Drop the football down at the 45-yard line, and it's a mid-watch 1st down with 1:58 to go.
That might pretty much do it here with 1 timeout left for the
Central Mass All-Stars.
Central Mass. Have to see how these last minute, 50 seconds play out. Imagine we'll keep the ball in TJ's hands here.
Coming up post-game, they will award their players of the game down on the field. Coach Harold Ogilvie will be down there as the chairman of this event tonight. He will be down there to make those presentations. Stick and stay with us. We'll have them for you here on RFM, both live and in delay as well. Carry continues up the middle. That's TJ Welch on the keeper once again. Across the 45, noses the football to the 47-yard line. They're going to even give him the 48, potentially. Gain of 3, 2nd down and 7, and the clock continues. Final 1:10 and counting here of the 4th quarter as Midwatch looks to ice Central Mass. The final 1 minute here and take a 6-point win in this 8th annual meeting.
One more play here, possibly, maybe 2, but game winding down, keeping that timeout in the pocket. It's been a great game. I don't know if calling a timeout, extending the game 1 play is really going to make a difference right now.
2nd down and 7 to go. Shotgun set. Welch in the gun with Moran next to him. The snap. Moran provides the block. Welch with the room into the 2nd level of the defense. Midfield 45 and down to the Central Mass 40. And quickly whistles and a timeout spent. 31 seconds left here in the 4th. And Central Mass will spend their last timeouts.
Quick prediction.
Yes.
We might have seen the game MVP just make the game cementing 1st down right there. Just a thought.
I mean, you
just
certainly, if you're on the mid-watch side,
touchdowns,
you've
right
got
here.
Welch with the 2 late touchdowns, but you got Ricky Encarnacion with the 2 huge early touchdowns as well.
Half, though, but he did really make a mark on things in the 1st half.
They aren't balloting up here on press row, as tends to be traditional, but I'll tell you, that would be a hard choice to choose between those 2 performances tonight on the offensive side of things.
We go on offense and defense,
and then you go to the defensive side of the football, and again, you've got some tough choices there.
Josh Cormier played a great game at linebacker.
Gio Roman in there as well.
Called
They're
his
both
number
biased.
a lot.
We are a little bit, but not the only
Gio
ones.
kept losing his helmet, so we kept calling his number tonight, but it's because he's sticking his nose in there on almost every play up front.
As you like to say to me, as you're fond of saying, let me finish. Yes, those both have had good defensive performances for Midwatch, but clearly the Midwatch MVP, Dom Vincula of Shrewsbury, 2 interceptions tonight from my side of the ledger. That's the guy you got to point to. Not only did he make the defensive plays, he made them when they counted.
And offensively, how about Rafi Bosaman? I think he had a couple of touchdowns, and who else had a couple of catches there as time was running down? I know
Welch the snap.
Central
kneel this one down.
Good job trying to come back, but just not enough.
And the teams are off the sideline. They will not have to run another play, and the camaraderie ensues. This 8th annual Central Massachusetts All-Star Classic goes the way of the Midwatch All-Stars. Midwatch over the rest of Central Mass. Final score, Midwatch 30 and Central Mass 24 in this 8th annual All-Star Classic. brought to you by the Joseph R. Mawhinney chapter of the National Football Foundation. And they're phenomenal organizing of another great all-star game. And great to be here to bring it to you exclusively, both audio and video, right here on RFM. Billy, trying to surmise this night. It feels like it's been a four-season kind of day. It's actually beautiful out right now. The humidity is down. It's cloud over, but
hopefully the equipment will survive. They dry out. But
I imagine.
Great game, I think. Great sportsmanship. Enough energy to keep things interesting, but I think the kids kept their emotions in check for the most part. You know, not having this kind of contact for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. It must have been tough for some of these kids to put a uniform on. Not that they don't stay in shape, but there's a difference between being in shape and being in football shape. And coaches will tell you, and the kids will tell you that too. But great job by both teams, by the coaching staff. Keep the kids' heads in the game. And we saw a very entertaining offensively from an offensive standpoint second half. But overall, I'd put a stamp on the entire game was entertaining.
Oh, no doubt about it. Like I said, this is our second year covering it exclusively, and we have enjoyed every single minute of it. Cannot say enough good things about how proud we are to partner with the Joseph R. Mawhinney chapter of the National Football Foundation to bring you this action here. And I have to say, what has really stood out sort of to me in this entire process, and something that, you know, we don't uniquely see in high school games for obvious reasons. That is, of course, the celebratory atmosphere. I think, Kate, you can speak to this a little bit. Sportsmanship is such an important part of this, right?
Yes.
And how we, of course, teach things and instill that in student athletes at this stage. But on a game like this and on a night like this, when everybody's here playing for fun, to have that opportunity to be able to show off their personality a little bit, row in the boat, bowling, a whole sideline celebration from Central Mass, like those sorts of things, it just speaks to the joy of football and the celebration of football this event is.
Well, the thing about football especially is compared to some of the other sports at the high school level. The regular season, every single game is make or break. If you get out to a slow start now with the way that the power rankings are, you're not going to make it to the postseason. And so every single game seemingly in the regular season and, of course, in the postseason is essentially do or die. And so in a lot of instances, you don't see the looseness. You don't see just, the excitement and the fun and the fact that these are high school students and that they're still boys, and you don't see that playful side all the time. In a game like today, it's about camaraderie, it's about sportsmanship, and it's about just being boys.
And great joy in the sport of football. The organization going on down on the field. We are waiting for public address announcer Dick Tucker and the official information for our stars of this game of stars. I mean, and that's got to be the hard part. You've got a field full of stars in both directions, and you've got to pick the stars of stars. That is not an easy situation to say the least.
And especially with this wide open second half we had, a lot of players stepped up. Let's get the public address.
Here's public address announcer Dick Tucker. They identified in this case, this is Friedman. Lucas Friedman of Millbury gets the award from Central Mass. And Noah Barrera gets recognized from the defensive side of things from South High School for the Central Mass All-Stars. Now the Midwatch side. Told you it'd be a difficult choice. TJ Welch, Bill Thomas, your prediction later in the game, heroics for the ceiling win for the Midwatch.
Exactly. What have you done for me lately? And he left quite the impression in the second half.
And Josh Cormier, not just for his holding heroics, but for his defensive play, careening all over the field in on multiple tackles. It's the lime green cleats, and it's a talented student athlete, and Castleton State is getting themselves a phenomenal athlete.
Yeah, great choice right there. But, I mean, we had the pleasure of watching him play all year.
And now the overall all-star.
Ricky.
It's Ricky Encarnacion. And Kate, when we're talking about somebody who embodies joy, Ricky Encarnacion is your person to talk about embodying joy.
Anybody that comes near him understands that he is essentially a walking spark of electricity. His personality, his ability to be a tremendous leader, quality person. I mean, the accolades are basically et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You name it, he can do it, and just everybody that gets near him adores him.
The University of New Haven getting themselves quite the student athlete, say the least.
And I can't add any more. I mean, we got to enjoy those two players along with the rest of the Blue Devils, but they kind of amplified what Blue Devils football was this year, and great recognition, good way to end their high school football careers.
And what a great way to end this 8th annual playing of the Central Massachusetts All-Star Classic. Mid-watch, a winner over the Central Mass All-Stars, 30-24, the final score in this one. It has been our absolute pleasure to be here with you tonight on RFM Audio and in delay with our complete and comprehensive broadcast. Again, noontime tomorrow, these same platforms, YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch, streaming from the home studio, so the action complete in its broadcast will be available tomorrow right here on RFM. You can join us and relive this one, each and every play of this All-Star Classic. We thank the great folks of the Joseph R. Mawhinney chapter of the National Football Foundation for their support. Jay Costa, their president, their vice president, and the chairman of this game this particular season. Clinton coach Harold Ogilvie, we thank them so much for their partnership. Tom McCarthy was up here on the clock, phenomenal resource as well, and all the great folks at the Joseph R. Mawhinney chapter of the National Football Foundation. We thank them so much for partnering with us here at RFM. And the foundation would like to thank Chick-fil-A of Westboro, Marlboro, and Worcester for their support of the mission of the Joseph R. Mawhinney chapter of the National Football Foundation and this Central Massachusetts All-Star Game. Kudos to them for supporting the student athletes football-wise here in Central Mass. That about does it for us here on RFM Audio and in delay on RFM, where we say thank you so very much for joining us. More exciting action to come. Football is on deck in the fall, but we got more baseball action coming to you. Join us coming this very week? No, next week. June the 27th is our next date. It's Tuesday, June the 27th. It's Framingham and Leominster, post 151 versus post 74. We'll have that action for you here on RFM from McLaughlin Field in Leominster. Also coming up a few months, a few weeks later. I do. A few weeks later. I've got so much going on.
What's the date?
My arm is asleep. We'll get to that later on.
I'll take it.
The action continues. Let me get through the promo and we'll move on off the top of my head. More Legion action to come. Coming up on July the 6th from Worcester. Fitton Field in Worcester. The Worcester Bravehearts hosting a Legion Classic night. It's free baseball. Communities of Leominster and Shrewsbury, post 151, post 397. It's going to be an entirely free night of baseball. They're going to run it just like a Bravehearts home game with all the promotions and all of the excitement. We'll have the action for you here on RFM, but we welcome you to join us down I-190 for Leominster and Shrewsbury on the Legion side of things. And then, as I said, football is on deck coming up this fall. Coach's Corner, 12th season, right back here on RFM, YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch, as well as every Leominster game, home and away, with the live audio right here on RFM Audio. Like, follow, and subscribe when the action goes live. It finds you. Once again, the final score, the 8th annual Central Massachusetts All-Star Classic. The Midland Wachusett All-Stars 30, the Central Massachusetts All-Stars 24. For all of us here at RFM, and until next year's 9th edition of this game, which I can go on a limb and say, you can join us right back here right here on RFM. We can't wait to be here for edition number 9 of this classic. For Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins, Leominster head coach Devin Gates, Aaron Canterbury, Osiris Lopez, and Coach Harold Ogilvie, all who joined us on this broadcast tonight. I am Todd Robbins saying thank you so very much for joining us. Relive this one tomorrow in replay right here on RFM. Until next time, we say, so long, everybody. Tradition, legacy, history. These words all describe a player, coach, or contributor's impact on a game, program, or generation. Each week this season, student athletes of this generation will square off with the goal of best representing their community today or for years to come.
Neil O'Connor finds Jake Elaine.
Alan Glennie quarterbacks his ball club.
Delakiai's in the end zone.
And calling signals, Dave Palazzi.
John Ulecki.
Warren Muir.
LeQueer.
Jack Rodequins.
Bobby Mativier.
Jason Toomley.
Devin Gates.
Quentin Tiggs.
Cortez Ludden.
Di Geronimo.
Stephanides.
Sean Dupuis.
McDonald.
Graham.
Quentin Perkins. Geraldo Rivera.
Gray makes the catch in the end zone for the touchdown. Who will have their name weaved among the tapestry of legends? Who can add their name among the football greatest in Central Massachusetts? You'll find out right here on RFM, continuing a legacy and tradition of audio excellence established by generations of great play-by-play teams gone before.
Yours truly, Tom Connery, Dave Spence, and Warren Muir.
This is Joe White. With me this morning is Dickey and Ron Lamar.
Ed Coleman along with Joe DeCarolis and Mark Landon.
This is Dave Clark along with Mike Flynn.
I'm Dave Spence along with my partner Luke Connery.
Todd Robbins alongside Ben Parker.
Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins, and you. Great to have you along with us. Stories told through the words spun by legends. The stories continue to be described by the award-winning team of today. It's time for high school football with the award-winning team of Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas, and Kate Robbins.